Hi, I'm Jacob Gallucci, and today I'd like to talk about The Drive. The Drive is a radio station in Chicago, and it's a classic rock station, and it's been around since April 2nd of 2001, so just over 12 years ago it started, and it's my favorite station, it really is, and my favorite DJ on the station is Bob Stroud, and Stroud's been there since the station's inception in 2001, and he hosts a show every Sunday called Rock and Roll Roots. It's on every Sunday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and he plays a lot of classic songs from the 60s and 70s on there. Sometimes he plays songs from the early 80s as well, and he's also on during the week, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And he's been doing Rock and Roll Roots since 1980. 1980, yes. He began Rock and Roll Roots in May of 1980 on WMET in Chicago. It's 95.5 FM. Back then it was a rock station. This was long before it was WNUA. It was a smooth jazz station for a long time, and now it's Mega. Mega is a Spanish music station, and he started Rock and Roll Roots on WMET, and then he over time, he also did it on 94.7 before it became WLS and the Zone. 94.7 was WXCD. WXCD was a classic rock station, much like The Drive and The Loop, and that station ended back in late 2000, early 2001, and after that, it became an 80 station, and then it became The Zone. It was an alternative rock station. And now it's 94.7 WLS, and it was an oldie station. Now it's a classic hit station. And starting in 1998, Bob Stroud released a Rock and Roll Roots CD. It contained 12 songs that people requested to be put on CD, and these are songs that he's played on his show throughout the years. And 1998, 99, and 2000, he released these albums when he was at CD 94.7, and then that station became an 80 station, and then he joined The Drive in 01, and in 01 there wasn't a Rock and Roll Roots album, but from 2002 until 2010, there actually was a Rock and Roll Roots album. Volumes 4 through 12 were released when he was at The Drive, and all these albums were sold at Borders. Well, the first 3 volumes were at Best Buy, and volumes 4 through 12 were sold at Borders. And there would have been a volume 13, but unfortunately, Borders actually went out of business. Yes, Borders went out of business in 2011, and since then there hasn't been a Rock and Roll Roots album. And you know, a few months ago, back in May of last year, actually, May of 2012. May 18th, 2012, I decided that I felt that I should make my own mixes of Rock and Roll Roots albums. And I'm modeling these after Bob Stroud's compilations. Almost all of his compilations contain at least 2 songs from Chicago area artists from the 60s and 70s and the early 80s as well. And anyway, I made 14 volumes 13 through 26. And for the next few weeks, I'll do 3 each week, and then I'll end up with the last 2 when volumes 25 and 26 will be at the end. But this week I'm doing volumes 13, 14, and 15. And anyway, here's volume 13. These are the songs I put on my volume 13. There's 12 songs on each album, and anyway, here's volume 13. The first song is Incense and Peppermints by the Strawberry Alarm Clock. That's a great psychedelic classic, and their second hit was Tomorrow, actually. It's a very obscure song, and Tomorrow was actually on Classic Rock Roots Volume 3 many years ago. Track number 2 is Stuck in the Middle with You by Stealers Wheel. Black Betty by Ram Jam is track number 3. Roller Coaster by The Ides of March is track number 4, and that's the first song from a Chicago area group on volume 13. Painted Ladies by Ian Thomas is the 5th song, and Ian Thomas is actually the brother of Dave Thomas, the actor and comedian. He was on SCTV, and the sixth song is This Beat Goes On, Switching to Glide by The Kings. Not The Kinks, The Kings. They're a Canadian rock group from the early 80s, and this song gets a lot of play on Chicago radio, even to this day, on The Drive and The Loop. And the 7th song is Signs by the 5-Man Electrical Band. They're a Canadian group, and that's the first of 2 hits they had. Their second hit was Absolutely Right, and that song was actually on Rock and Roll Roots Volume 6. It actually opened that album. And Full Moon Turn My Head Around by Off-Broadway is the 8th track on the album, and their biggest hit, Stay in Time, was on Volume 12. And the 9th song is One Toke Over the Line by Brewer and Shipley. Track number 10 is I Will Always Think About You by the New Colony 6. They're a Chicago area rock group from the late 60s and early 70s, and this was one of their biggest hits. It was their second biggest hit overall, only behind Things I'd Like to Say. Things I'd Like to Say, I have the information here. It was actually on Volume 9 of Rock and Roll Roots, and then the 11th song is No Time to Lose by the Tarney Spencer Band. That's a Chicago radio classic as well. That's heard a lot on The Drive and The Loop, and they're actually an Australian group. Yes, they're Australian. And Something in the Air by Thunderclap Newman ends the album, and that group was actually formed by Pete Townsend. Yes, Pete Townsend. And here's Rock and Roll Roots Volume 14. I opened the album with Sugar and Spice by the Crying Shames. They're a Chicago area group from the late 60s and early 70s, and that song was actually their biggest hit. The second song is Open My Eyes by Nas. Nas is the group that Todd Rundgren was in before he went solo. And that song sounds just like I Can't Explain by The Who. It has the same riff and everything. The third song is Woodstock by Matthew Southern Comfort. The song was originally written by Joni Mitchell, and Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young had a famous version of it. And Matthew Southern Comfort was a group that was led by Ian Matthews. He's a British musician, and it's a good rendition of the song. It really is. The fourth song is I Love You by the Climax Blues Band. Track number 5 is 96 Tears by Question Mark and the Mysterians. It's a garage rock classic. It really is. Track number 6 is Lies by the Knickerbockers. It's a garage group from New York from the mid-60s, and the lead vocalist sounds just like John Lennon. It really sounds like a Beatles song. It's unbelievable. And track number 7 is Dirty Water by the Standells. It's a classic that's still played at Red Sox games, and ironically enough, the group was actually from Los Angeles, not Boston. Brother Louie by the Stories is track number 8. Moonlight Feels Right by Starbuck is track number 9. I've Got the Music in Me by Kiki D. The Kiki D Band is track number 10. Oh Well by the Rockets is track number 11. And that's a remake of the old Fleetwood Mac song from the Peter Green era. Their version's pretty good. The Rockets, they were a rock group from, I want to say, Detroit, and that was their one big hit. And the 12th and final track on Volume 14 is Too Late by Shoes. They're a power pop group from the 70s. They're actually from the Chicago area. They're from Zion. Zion's right at the border between Illinois and Wisconsin. And anyway, last but not least for today, here's Volume 15. Volume 15 opens up with Back in Love Again by the Buckinghams. A lot of their songs were on previous Rock and Roll Roots albums. The mono single version of Kind of a Drag was on Volume 8, and Susan was on Volume 9. And Back in Love Again was their last real hit. And Hold Your Head Up by Argent is track number 2. Rod Argent was originally the keyboardist with the Zombies, and this was their one big hit. Black is Black by Los Bravos is track number 3. Sunshine by Jonathan Edwards is track number 4. Track number 5 is Little Bit of Soul by the Music Explosion. I'm on Fire by the Dwight Twilley Band is track number 6. The 7th track is Baby It's Cold Outside by Pez Band. They're a power pop group from the Chicago area from the late 70s. Nicole by Point Blank is track number 8. They're a rock group from Texas. They're from the late 70s, early 80s. Track number 9 is Green Tambourine by the Lemon Pipers. Rock On by David Essex is track number 10. The Rapper by Jaggers is track number 11. The lead singer of Jaggers is Donnie Iris. He had a hit in the early 80s called Aaliyah. He looks a lot like Buddy Holly. He really does. And he also looks like Eugene Levy from SCTV and the American Pie movies. And last but not least, track number 12 is Thunder Island by Jay Ferguson. Jay Ferguson was originally a member of the group Spirit, and he was also in the group JoJo Gunn. And Spirit's song, I Got a Line on You, was actually on Rock and Roll Roots Volume 10. And Run, Run, Run by JoJo Gunn was actually on Rock and Roll Roots Volume 9, I believe. Yes, and anyway, these are my mixes for Volumes 13, 14, and 15. And I'm hoping Bob Stroud will make a real Volume 13 eventually. It's been almost 3 years since Volume 12 came out, and one day I think Volume 13 will come out. I'm hoping, and I have all 12 volumes, and they were hard to get, a lot of them, because they were sold only one time many years ago, and I had to get them off of Amazon, and they were expensive, but I got them. And anyway, I'm sorry for rambling, but I'll be back on Monday with 2 new videos, and until then, take care and have a good weekend.